Snow drifted softly across the quiet neighborhood as Ethan Reed, a single dad and one of the city's youngest CEOs, parked his car outside a small, run-down apartment building. He wasn't supposed to be here. In fact, he'd only come because of a supply chain complaint filed by a local grocery vendor. Something about stolen produce. Normally, his employees handled these things, but something about the repeated report felt off. So he came personally. Inside the dim hallway, the smell of disinfectant and cold air lingered. Ethan knocked on the vendor's door, but no one answered. As he turned to leave, he noticed a small box of groceries placed outside the next door. Milk, bread, soup cans. Nothing expensive, but enough to survive a few days. He bent down to look at the receipt taped to the box, assuming it belonged to the vendor. Instead, a weak voice broke the silence. "Sir, please don't take our food." Ethan turned sharply. A thin little boy stood in the doorway, maybe 8 or 9 years old. His dark hair was messy, his cheeks pale, and he clutched a blanket around his tiny shoulders as though trying to stay warm. Ethan softened. "I'm not taking anything, buddy. I was just checking." The boy swallowed nervously. "Please, this is all we have for the week. My mom, she's very sick. She can't work. I'm taking care of her." Ethan felt a tug in his chest. He crouched to the boy's level. "What's your name?" "Liam," the boy whispered. "Where's your mom, Liam?" He stepped aside. "Inside. But she doesn't like strangers to see her like this." Ethan gently peered inside the dimly lit room. A woman lay on the couch under a thin blanket, coughing softly, her hand trembling as she tried to lift a cup of water. Something inside Ethan broke. This wasn't theft. This wasn't fraud. This was desperation. Liam's voice cracked. "I didn't steal anything. I only took leftover vegetables they were throwing away. I just didn't want my mom to go hungry." The CEO squeezed his jaw, fighting anger, not at the boy, but at the world that had pushed a child into this situation. He placed a hand on Liam's shoulder. "Don't worry," Ethan said softly. "No one is taking your food, and starting today, you and your mom won't have to struggle alone." Liam's eyes widened with relief and confusion. Ethan stood up, determination burning in his chest. This visit was no longer business. It had become personal. The boy's trembling voice echoed in Daniel's mind long after he stepped inside the dimly lit apartment. The single bulb flickered overhead, casting long shadows on the cracked walls. Daniel's daughter, Lily, stayed close by his side, holding his hand tightly. She could sense something was wrong. In the corner of the small room, the sick mother lay curled on a thin mattress, her breathing shallow, her face pale, and her skin burning with fever. A bowl of untouched soup sat beside her, now cold. The boy rushed to her, kneeling beside her mattress with desperate urgency. "Mom, wake up, someone's here to help," he whispered, shaking her gently. She opened her eyes slowly, trying to sit up but failing. Daniel immediately stepped forward. "Don't move," he said softly. "You need rest." The woman stared at him in confusion, her voice faint. We don't have anything left. I'm sorry, we can't." "You don't owe me anything," Daniel interrupted firmly. But the boy was still afraid. Please don't take our food. We only have enough for tonight. My mom, she needs it." Tears ran down his cheeks, and his small hands curled into trembling fists, as if ready to defend the little they had. Daniel's heart ached. He knelt down to the boy's level. "Hey, I'm not here to take anything," he said gently. "I'm here to help, I promise." The boy blinked through tears. No adult had ever spoken to him like that before. Daniel took off his coat and placed it over the sick mother, then turned to Lily. "Sweetheart, can you get my phone from my pocket?" Lily nodded and quickly handed it to him. Daniel dialed his doctor directly. "Dr. Harris, it's urgent. I need you at an address immediately. A woman is severely ill. Bring supplies." He hung up and looked back at the mother. "You're going to be all right. Help is on the way." The woman shook her head weakly. Why are you helping us?" Daniel hesitated for a moment. Memories of his late wife flashed through his mind. How she always helped people even when she was sick herself. "Because someone once saved my family when we needed it," he said quietly. "Now it's my turn." The boy threw his arms around Daniel, sobbing into his chest. Daniel gently hugged him back, already knowing that this encounter would change all of their lives forever. The next morning, Daniel arrived at the shelter earlier than usual. His mind had not stopped thinking about the boy, Evan, and his sick mother. Something inside Daniel felt different, heavier, but also clearer. Maybe it was because he saw a reflection of his younger self, lost, scared, and responsible for more than a child should ever be. As he entered the small room where they had slept the previous night, he found Evan already awake, gently placing a wet cloth on his mother's forehead. She looked weaker than before, her breathing shallow, her face pale. The boy kept whispering to her, "Mom, everything will be okay. I'll take care of you. Please wake up." Daniel's heart clenched. "Good morning," he said softly. Evan looked up, his eyes were tired but hopeful. "Sir, thank you for coming." Daniel knelt beside the bed. "How is she?" Evan shook his head. "Worse, she didn't eat anything, and she keeps shivering." Daniel placed 2 fingers on the woman's wrist. Her pulse was faint and slow. This was no ordinary illness. She needed immediate medical attention. "Evan," Daniel said firmly, "we're taking your mom to the hospital right now." The boy panicked. "But we don't have money. They won't treat her." Daniel looked him straight in the eyes. "Don't worry about the money. I'll take care of everything." Tears filled Evan's eyes. For the first time, someone was stepping in. Someone was helping. Within minutes, Daniel had arranged an ambulance and accompanied them to a private hospital. Doctors rushed her into the emergency unit. Evan stood trembling, clutching Daniel's hand. "Is she going to die?" Evan whispered. Daniel knelt in front of him. "No, she's strong, and now she has help. She's going to fight." Hours passed. Finally, the doctor walked out, removing his gloves. "She's stable now," the doctor said. "Another few hours, and it might have been too late. Whoever brought her in saved her life." Evan immediately hugged Daniel tightly, crying into his shirt. Thank you so much." Daniel gently placed a hand on the boy's back. "You're not alone anymore, Evan." In that moment, Daniel realized the truth. This wasn't charity. It was fate. Life had brought him to this boy for a reason. And he wasn't going to walk away.